Our next two presenters are Akua Oseiwah Ahenkorah and Angela Azumah Alu, who are both co-directors of Women Who Code Accra. They are the foot soldiers who are my hands and feet in Ghana, directing this program in absentia. I see Angela just joined. Hi, Angie.
To commemorate Africa.
Hello, Angie. Can you hear me?
Hi, Ifya. The two countries have agreed.
Oh, it looks like Angie is on a bus, so there's background noise. Angie, is
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, is Akua's light back up? So there's a problem in Africa in general. Power goes out when there are heavy rains, and one presenter has the power going out, and another presenter is catching the last bus after lecturing at the university to home. So Angie, there's a lot of background noise, but we'll just have to manage since Akua can't be on right now, okay?
Okay, sure.
All right. I'm going to share your presentation in a bit. Hold
Okay.
To restore the country's forest cover. The minister was speaking at an event where seeds and trees were distributed for the planting of 20 million trees across the country today as part of the Green Ghana initiative.
And Angie, just tell me next slide, and I hear the radio. If you can tell the bus driver to lower the radio on your behalf, that would also be great. So I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. Angie, you're on mute, but I trust that you are handling that. So the next session is developing a syllabus. Both Angela Azumah Alu and Akua Oseiwah Ahenkorah double as faculty at Ashesi University. Akua is the operations director at EAI, which is a company in Ghana and with branches even in America. And Angela is pursuing her PhD in financial mathematics or economics, one of them, or finance. These two women are really instrumental. Like I said, they are foot soldiers managing day-to-day operations on there. There's also another co-director, Nabia Al-Hassan, who is probably listening in. So she's also one of the co-directors managing this growing movement of women in technology. So Angie, are you ready now?
Yes, so I'd like him to, yes, he's lowered it, but others are joining the bus, so there's still going to be some background noise.
Okay, we'll manage. So I'll hit present and just tell me next slide to proceed.
Okay.
Over to you, Angie.
Okay, right. Thank you very much, Ifya, and thank you everyone for joining. So we're sharing today about what should go into a syllabus. And one of the main things is that, especially for something like coding, the aim for any syllabus that would be created would be that at the end of the period, the people should, the veterans should be able to actually code. So we're just going to go through what goes into it. If you're, please, you can move on to the next two slides since you've already introduced us.
Talk a little bit about, in your own language, about you and Akua.
Okay, so Well, Ike and I have been doing a lot of interesting things for coders who travel. I think our very first event together was to Kumasi for the Coders Weekend series. She's the operations manager at AI Information Systems. She codes in Python, and then she doubles as an adjunct faculty at Ashesi University, teaching Python. An introduction to computing. I'm in finance. I teach finance at Academic City University College, and I'm also an adjunct at Ashesi. So, next slide. Okay. So this would be the outline for our presentation. Would introduce the session, go through the various things that go into syllabus development, as well as the activity that all of us would be engaged in, and then we would end with a summary. So in terms of the syllabus, we're going to go through what is the syllabus, the features of it, as well as the various personas that are involved, and then how to make a syllabus very accessible. Yeah, next. Okay, so basically, a syllabus helps to, in a sense, provide the social contract that exists between the instructor and then a student. And it typically is supposed to outline all the goals of the program or the particular course or activity that you're undertaking, as well as the various steps that you're going to take. And as such, it helps to define the expectations from the lecturer side, the students, as well as the responsibilities that each party has towards the other. And then it has various features. So we are just going to go through those in the next slide. So one of the important things that would be required in any syllabus would be the name of the course. I mean, even though it sounds quite intuitive, it can be interesting to sometimes find students who don't even know either the name of the course or the specific course code for that particular course, as well as the meeting times and the location. And especially if it's online too, whatever means is going to be used, whether it's going to be on Zoom, Teams, or some other sort of meeting app. All of these are important in helping to define the expectations, because you cannot say that you didn't show up for class because you didn't know where it was actually supposed to be held. It's also important to provide the information about how to get in, who the instructor is, maybe any relevant information. Sometimes for some lecturers, or some instructors may even have specific names that they would want to be addressed by. It's also important to provide the information of how the instructor can be contacted. Some instructors may not want to be contacted via phone, right? You would want to only use email. And as much as possible, it's important for the instructor to introduce himself or herself. And usually for particular programs, sorry, the bus is moving now, so there might be a little more turbulence.
Thanks for letting us know.
Sometimes it can be important to get to know the students it's always very important to get to know the students as well. So you can also, as the instructor, you can also manage your expectations of the level at which they are joining, so that if it's a beginner class, you know where to reach them from, and then you can also adjust accordingly if it's an intermediate or an advanced class. Yeah, please, you can move on. Okay, so this is an example of a syllabus that has the name of the instructor as well as their contact information, right? And then it also includes the course name and then the code. It doesn't have the meeting details, but at least it provides the other information that we have spoken about. Next slide, please. So it's also very important to have a description of the course in terms of what exactly is this course about? Why is it even important? So if it is Python that you are going to study, the course is Introduction to Python. So this course introduces students or participants to Python, to its features, the various applications of Python, as well as the vision for even organizing the course. So it's important for them to study Python because it's one of the fastest growing languages. It can be used for a lot of applications. Or this is Introduction to Finance. It's important for students to learn about it so as to be able to manage their own personal finances, as well as in the event that they find themselves working as financial managers. So why is it important for the course to be studied at all? And this is quite similar to, but also different from the learning outcomes, which clearly outlines the knowledge, the skills that participants gain at the end of the course. So what should they be able to, what should they know at the end? What skills should they have acquired? So maybe for Introduction to Finance, they should be able to calculate the time value of money, giving various applications. They should be able to identify the roles that the financial manager has. Those are some skills that they should have acquired at the end of the course.
Angie, we are losing you, if you can hear. Angie. Angie, are you there? All right, it looks like we've lost Angela for a bit. Akua, do you happen to be back? Let me look at the presenter list. Looks like Akua is still out. So I'll continue presenting on her behalf. Obviously, I did not put the presentation together, so we can all soak in the slides and progress. Angela, are you back?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Continue.
Sorry, it's extra terrible because of the rain. Because of rain.
Yeah.
Okay, please, can you move to the next slide? So we see an example of the course description. Okay, so this pretty much provides a description for, in this case, Introduction to Python. So exactly what the language is, and then it provides an overview of what's going to be covered. And then the learning outcomes. So at the end of the course, students should understand computer basics, the basics of programming, the binary number system.
Angie, why don't you read the course description? Because sometimes when people hear and the learning outcome, since it's so important.
Okay, so Python is a language with a simple syntax and a powerful set of libraries. It is an interpreted language with a rich programming environment, including a robust debugger and profiler. While it is easy for beginners to learn, it is widely used in many scientific areas for data exploration. This course is an introduction to the Python programming language for students without prior programming experience. We cover data types, control flow, object-oriented programming, and graphical user interface-driven applications. The examples and problems used in this course are drawn from diverse areas such as text processing, simple graphics creation, and image manipulation, HTML and web programming, and genomics. And for the learning outcomes, students will be able to understand computer basics, understand programming basics, understand the binary number system, begin using the Java programming language, display outputs on the console, explain the differences between syntax errors, runtime errors, and logic errors. Okay. Please, we can move on to the next slide. Okay. Sorry, no, we've gone back. We've gone back. If you please, yeah, the next one. Okay. So sometimes you can also have the course impact. That's a more long-term, more medium-term. So not the immediate things that they are going to be examined on for the learning outcomes, but what you hope that participants should be able to do after they have learned, they have taken this course. And then also the course so the textbooks, the reading, and the online resources needed for this course. And Hello.
Hello, you are back. Welcome back. Angie. I'm going to call her. Angie, is it possible to use WhatsApp? And I'll put you on speakerphone to see if that is better. Actually, that's a terrible idea because you lose the Zoom connection. So never mind. Angie, I'm going to play the About Coders Who Travel voiceover while we wait for you. So if you just joined.
Hello. Yes.
Angie, I'm playing a voiceover so your internet stabilizes, hopefully.
Coders Who Travel Incorporated is a U.S.-based 501c3 tax-exempt organization with a vision to inspire and advance the careers of coders, computer, and mathematical programmers in less developed regions of the world.
Yeah, I see Akua joining. Akua, Angie is having trouble, so good timing that you are joining. Akua. Akua, you're on mute. Akua. All right, I'm going to take over and present, and we'll all engage with the slides. So I believe cost impacts are optional, medium-term impacts of the course on participants. Then there's the course resources section, which is also optional, textbooks, readings, and online resources. Okay, Akua is asking for a minute to take over. Ladies and gentlemen, please be patient. And Angela is sending me a message, so I'm going to respond to her in a bit. Welcome, Akua. So it's perhaps a good destiny that you get to present because you were part of the content creation. So Angela has carried us forth to, I believe, slide number 10, halfway. So continue with us.
Okay. Thank you. And as she said, it's probably destiny that I have to present this. So let's just continue from slide 10 then. I believe Angela has already spoken about what a syllabus is and the features, the first 4 features. So from feature 5, at this point, we are looking at cost impact, right? So cost impact, and it's optional. That's not something you see, or it's very common on a lot of syllabus that you've probably come across. If you would you want me to present my screen as well? Okay, please go ahead. All right. So, all right. So that's not something that you do see on a lot of syllabus, right? But for veteran who code and other courses that have social impact, it's good to have that information. And I think with veteran who code, VCC, it's something that we should have. There's a social impact aspect to this course, so it would be important to have that as well. Aside that, to the resources, course resources, which are optional based on if they have to buy textbooks, they have to get some resources online or not that are needed for the course. So this slide just shows some examples of these, that is the cost impact and the resources. For the cost impact, this is an example from GBV Africa, which also has a social impact and is mainly for Africans, right? And what they do, or they have in their cost impact, which for VCC, we can also think about is what is the medium-term impact of VCC, veteran who code? What do we anticipate participants, trainers, whoever is involved here, what do we expect, how do we expect them to apply the learning outcomes to their personal, their professional lives? What impact are we envisioning, right? So that is something that we need to consider, think about, and add to our course syllabus, right? On the right, there's also some basic details that makes it easy for participants to know which book, which version, which is also very important, because some books have multiple versions. So it's good to provide that information as well, and where they can get this. Okay. All right. If I think you can move on to the next slide. Okay, so then the other features that are available are mainly, I mean, this is where the details and what the course actually entails is provided, right? So this is where you are talking about the lessons, the topics that are being covered for the course, and also thinking about the assignment, assessment, right? So if you're providing some certificates to the participants, how are you assessing that they've actually learned and they learned what you provided, the information you've given to them, and also the fact that learning outcomes have been achieved, right? So you think about the assessments, the assignments that you'd be providing for the course, okay? If you can move on to the next slide. Okay, so there's also some examples online on some courses. So on the left hand, you get to see information about lessons, right? So maybe lesson 1, if you have different modules, you'll be seeing modules, module 1, topics under each, right? So it depends on the information, the details we have for the course, okay? And then we do just provide that information that is easy for the participant to know that, okay, these are the things that will be covered in this course, okay? And on the other hand, for assessments, you're providing them information, okay, you're getting assignments every week or every other week. You are going to be assessed on quizzes, projects, whatever would be involved here, right? You want to provide that information so the participant knows what they should be looking out for. All right, and then we do have the participant or student expectations and responsibilities, right? I think from defining what a syllabus is, we also talked about it being a contract, right? So it's between you, an instructor, the course provider, and the participant, right? So they also have some responsibilities here. Okay, so that's where you put in those details. Okay, this is the time commitment. You have to commit like maybe every 30 minutes every day or 5 hours every week, whichever one it is. right? What attitude you need here. You should be somebody who probably doesn't give up if it's coding, because you will be met with some issues and you don't have to stop there, right? You have to persevere and continue. So these are the things that you think about. And then for support, if I have an issue, where do I go to? Right? How do I receive the support? If I have some questions and it's outside the class, who do I reach? Right? This is also the information you provide in the syllabus. Yeah. All right, so then we have an example here. So this is mainly for support, right? So maybe instructor can be reached by email. There's an online discussion forum. If there are office hours, yes, all these are information that you are providing the participants. If we can move on to the next one. And this is an example on student expectation and responsibilities. Okay, so I mean, coming to class, being present, being on time, taking advantage of the resources that are provided, communicating, right? So all these are what you expect of the participant to achieve that learning, to achieve the learning outcomes. So if you do not follow, or you're not responsible in this way, you're probably not going to get those learning outcomes. And it's not because the course is bad, it's not because the structure isn't good, but because you did not also take full control of your responsibilities, like you weren't participating, you didn't, your expectations, you didn't meet that, right? So it lets you know that, okay, if I do this, then I get these learning outcomes. If I probably do not do that, you may not have the same outcome or gain or skill out of the course. Okay. I think we can move on. Okay, so that concludes the features of a syllabus and the things you have to think about in creating a syllabus. Then the other aspect, which is also important in creating a syllabus, is for you to identify persona and accessibility, right? So you have to identify your target audience, the different persona that you are targeting in this case. Do you have people who have probably never heard of coding, or they've never done, they have little or no experience with coding, right? Are you looking at people whose attention span is very little? How would learning take place? There are people who learn easily with maybe some videos, some practice, some code along, right? And then other people who are busy or have more time, right? So all these are things that you have to look at and also think about in creating a syllabus for the course. Again, we also identify different engagement options, right? So how are you engaging with these participants, right? You have to identify ways in which engagement can happen and different forms of engagement that can occur in a course. And finally, just making sure that the syllabus is taking care of all these personas, that not a single persona is being left behind and the rest are getting to learn. Okay, so if you know you're targeting these kinds of personas, it means that you have to cater for them in your syllabus. Okay, yeah. All right, great. So for this section, what we had in mind was to look at, we have some links of some syllabus that is online. So these are online syllabus that are available. And what we do have here is to just go over these examples and see these features, the ones that we just went over and being applied there. How do I make this work? Do I give you the links?
I already put the template, the develop template document. Do you remember that one that I shared?
Yes.
Is that what you want to use?
Okay, yes, we can use that. What I had
whatever
were
you
some
have in
online
mind.
ones. But...
No, you can chat whatever you want me to use. You don't have to use that one.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's do that quickly. Okay. Give me a minute. I'm putting that in the chat.
So Akua, you have about 19 more minutes. Time check.
90.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and we have to get to the activity. So let me see if I can get this quickly. Let me just bring one. Let me just put in one so that we can go with that one, and then we get into the activity.
Okay. And if you need more time between Will's presentation and Delaney Sheet's presentation, we may have, maybe about 10 minutes. And so because the syllabus, we definitely want the activity to be collaborative based on what you just shared with everyone.
Okay. All right.
All right. So you want me to open that, or they have to go there?
You can just open that.
Okay.
Okay, so this is, I think it's a syllabus for Harvard's Intro to Programming with Python, right? And just going through it, if I can scroll down, it's a very simple one. So there's a course description that talks about what Python is, because you definitely have some people probably not heard of Python as a programming language. So what it is about the instructor, about the meeting information. If you scroll. Yes, and textbooks that are needed for the course. Any additional resources are also available. And then I think if you go further down, it gives more details about the topics that will be covered in a week, right? So all that is provided in a way that is not ambiguous. A participant or a student can easily read this and know what to expect from the course, right? And what they are committing to. So this is just one of the examples. There are many other syllabus examples online. And this is something that we can look at in terms of developing a syllabus, just to get some ideas. So that's mainly it. I think we can go to the activity now. Just looking at this.
You want to present or?
Okay, so for the activity, okay, let me do that. There is a link, but okay, let's do this. There's a link, but I think when I checked, you may need to log in before having access to that. So let me try and do this quickly.
Okay.
Okay, so you should be seeing my screen any minute. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can see your screen. Oh, not yet. Sorry, a minute. We can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, probably sharing the wrong screen then. Let me move this.
We see persona for VCC. Was that the right screen?
Yeah, that was.
Okay, so come back.
Okay, yeah. Okay. for whatever reason, the controls went to the other screen. So I was thinking it was there. Okay, right. So for the activity, we have mainly five things to go over, and this is more of a
Yeah, can you
brainstorming
put the
session.
link in the chat so they can get
Okay,
it?
yes, let me do that. So it's more of a brainstorming session. So let's see, I have it here. It seems you might need to log in or sign up probably, but hopefully that isn't the case. So let's see. I think you can try getting to the link and also filling out any of these notes. So we have 5 different areas to brainstorm. So more of the personas for VCC, accessibility concerns that we perceive would come up with VCC, content delivery modes, like ways we think VCC should be delivered in terms of the content, learning goals for VCC, and forms of assessment that we think would be necessary for VCC. Okay, so these are the 5 main areas and that we are looking at. I think we can start with, if you do have access to it, I think it would be great. You can just fill in any area you want, but if not, I would do that. So you can put either your comments in a chat. You can also unmute and just share. Yeah, so in terms of persona, what do you think? What are the personas would have for VCC?
Please come off mute and engage, yes. Please, because the syllabus.
Yeah, this is an engaging section.
Yeah, for it to work, please. Oh, I'm going to start calling names. Please participate. Even if you haven't gotten access yet, you can put your answer in the chat, and I'm sure Akua can grab it and put it on.
Yeah.
Who is doing the activity? Please raise your hand. How are you? I have to call my executive assistant.
Yeah.
How are you? Are you participating? Edmond Ameyao, who is a lecturer.
I'm trying to set up an account, and then I think a few people are in the waiting room as well.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Dr. Edmond Ameyao is in the house. He's a lecturer at Howard University, a prestigious Black university. It's called an historically Black college and university, HBCU. So Edmond, are you participating? This is a syllabus time, so we really need your input. I see Jennifer Baffo. Please participate. And during networking, I look forward to learning more about you. Joseph, you have to participate too, even though you are marketing. Getting into the weeds of syllabus will help the content. Nabia, Ramona, and hi, Roland. I understand Joseph connected you to us. Welcome to the event. Please come and do an activity. And there's a guest on a 240 number. Please participate. Thank you. So give people one more minute to log in, because I think the log.
Okay. I think I have somebody join in. Okay, Roland.
You are welcome, Roland.
Okay. So you can just type in, if you're able to access it, you can just type in here. If you can't, just put it in the chat. I will copy it and put it on the card. So, or you can also go off mute and just share.
And share, yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so you have Joseph and Roland trying to do the activity. There's still no answers on the board. Come on, this is so creative. Okay, I see El Hayil. Yay, it's in the house. Hopefully we get Joseph and Roland. Dr. Edmond Amayao, please join the process. We need you. And Ramona, amazing voiceovers, but hey, join us. We always need people, you know, even if you're not a programmer, different perspectives always makes things solid. You know, if you probably can realize that we are maybe being technical and are not speaking in layman terms or the marketing, so join. Oh, I just remembered Ramona is at work too. So she might not be able to join. Never mind.
Okay, so I don't know if there's any thought of we give people some time to just bring their ideas here. So let's see. I can probably start with the assessment part, right? So assessment have a capstone project at the end or some project for them to complete at the end of the fundamentals course, right? Because we are talking about Python or any of the languages. So having a project at the end would be some form of assessment, right? And I mean a graded project. So let's just go with projects. Anything else? Okay. Yeah, we have good. Okay. Okay, so pre-recorded lessons, veteran with zero coding experience as a persona. Okay, good. In-person meetings, pre-recorded lessons in terms of content delivery. Okay. Manuals.
Okay, I gave you some 2 personas. Hope that helps.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. Okay, good. Yeah, I think so. We have 3 personas now. Accessibility concerns. Okay, we have 1 for that. Content delivery. Okay. We have 4. I'm probably going to. Okay, so hybrid, in person, virtual. Okay, let me see. Let me try to add more for the section in case someone wants to add more options.
Okay, this is very fun. Thanks for putting it together. You and Angie are doing great work.
Okay, so internships. Okay, I'm going to do this. If I did that. Okay, so let's bring this here. Add more cards, probably. Something else. Okay. Okay, I think so far for personas, we have 3 being veteran with zero coding experience, veteran with exposure to coding, veterans transitioning from military to civilian life. So accessibility, we are looking at considerations for interested veterans living with a disability. And then content delivery, pre-recorded lessons, in-person meetings, lessons, wiki, hybrid, that is in-person plus virtual, right? And then learning goals, participants should be able to perform data analysis. Participants should be able to use the lessons learned to solve everyday problems, and then process flow automation. Okay, for assessment, so for our project, exams for certificates, case studies, internship. Okay, so I think that's what we have so far. I don't know if anyone else wants to add something else. I haven't seen anything in the chat, so I'm assuming that's it. Okay, so participants who do not have a computer, yeah, okay. Okay, participants will be rated. The tools. Okay. Veterans suffering from PTSD. Okay, yeah.
PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay. All right. I don't know if there are any more ideas that would be posted here. If you, how many minutes do we have?
You are at time.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I mean, the link will still be available. I think when we think of anything else that we want to add, we can go ahead and add. But I think this has been really great. We have some things to consider, look at, especially in creating the syllabus. If I believe the session after this it's also about creating syllabus, right? So I think that would also
Building up, hopefully,
yes,
on what
building up on this, yes. So yeah, so
we
with
are going
all
to go into a 10-minute break so people
okay,
can relax.
okay, great.
And let me see what we have on the agenda. I will play an interview that a Voice of America journalist did of me, and then we'll play No Longer Slaves. It's a favorite song to hear. Fear is such a writing factor, and so we'll head into that. But let's show some love for Akua and Angela. I think we learned a lot, and we had so much fun with the engagement. So thank you. These two women, again, are co-directors of Women Who Code Accra and also help at Coders Who Travel, because our journey, our challenges are unique to our culture in Africa, and sometimes not everyone gets that. And so Coders Who Travel is necessary for bridge building effort with talented young Africans. And we hope that Veterans Can Code will be phase 1, and phase 2, young Africans and military men and women in the US can be in a conference together, learning side by side. And I can't wait for that day. So stay tuned for a conference in the near future. So now I see clap from Roland. Yeah, more chat. Please show some reaction. Earlier on, I put their emails in the chat. Ahenkorah@Coders Who Travel, and Angela is angela.a.alu@Coders Who Travel. Please connect with them if you have more questions. But Akua and Angela, wonderful presentation. Thank you so much for your hard work. I knew I could count on you. Akua was saying, if you go and review it, I'm like, I've taken a look at it briefly, but I think you got it. And I'm so glad you brought it. You brought an A+ game. So thank you for all that you do at Coders Who Travel and Women Who Code Accra. Really means a lot.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.